In 2005, with proceeds from a bank-owned house we fixed up and sold that year, my wife and I purchased this piece of vacant land 3 miles from the Canadian border, several hundred miles from the nearest U.S. metro area. Living near the coast in the Pacific Northwest, our goal was simply to have a place we could go to get away from the hectic pace of city life. But the tranquility and connection with the outdoors quickly made us realize we wanted more. So with our own hands, we began the crazy, wonderful journey of building our dream from the ground up, making the 6-hour drive from the city every few weekends. We paid for materials as we could afford, often using lumber we milled off the land. This place would become known as Red Moose Ranch, a tribute to one of the many wild animals that frequent the area. Come along for the ride as we trek from city to the country, from the coast to the mountains. This is our story. Welcome to Life on the Moose. Good morning. Did you sleep well? Good. Yeah, I slept okay. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Okay, what a glorious morning. You know what? You don't want to look at me. Let's turn this thing around and show you what I'm looking at. Life on the Moose. Wow. I think you're going to enjoy this as much as I will. So it's 7:45 in the middle of January. Typically, we have a lot more snow than this. We had a lot of meltage happening here in the last week or so. In November, we got dumped on. We literally had feet of snow. So this really melted off. It's been about a month since I've been here. I am standing on Red Moose Ranch. This is my little piece of heaven. I should say ours. My wife kind of owns it too. This is what we call the cabin, a glorified garage. There in the middle is our well and power situation. No, this place is not off-grid. We will be making and building some off-grid cabins, so don't you worry. This is our barn. It took about 3 years to build this barn. My wife helped a lot, and I had help from a few good friends as well. This is our driveway that leads to a gravel road that leads to another gravel road that leads to a county blacktop. So we're about 4 miles away from the pavement here. This is not in the middle of nowhere. This is just toward the middle of nowhere. So today, what are we gonna do today? I think we should head up that hill. You can't see it because of the fog, but there is a little off-grid cabin, and we are gonna do some basic rudimentary wiring in there. I have a small solar system I think I want to get going and eventually put up there just to have a light bulb or two. What a day. Okay, I'm hungry. I'm gonna have some breakfast. Breakfast. It's my favorite meal of the day before 9 o'clock. Okay, ham and eggs. Oh, here, I got your fork. You want to help? I have people ask me, why would you buy someplace in the middle of nowhere? I guess I'll show you. I mean, what more reason do you want? I consider this my home, although I live most of the time in a city on the coast. This is the exact opposite in a lot of respects. No people. It is hotter in the summer. It is colder in the winter. It's much drier than the coast. And there's just a view here that you can't beat. I'll take it. All by my lonesome, that's even better. Okay, do you see that? I didn't think so. It's a little foggy out here. Up there, where you can't see, is a small cabin that we're building, an off-grid cabin. I'm going to put some wiring in there, some basic wiring for a small solar setup I want to put up there. So before I do that, I got to get a Mr. Buddy heater in there, Mr. Heater Buddy in there. I think that's what it is. I got to get into the barn. I got to get my 4x4 out. Let's open this door. I have a super expensive custom padlock on here. Oh, there you go. I remember the combination. Let's open that up. Hi. Notice there's a little bit of heave down there where the ground had obviously froze, heaved up a little bit, maybe pushed that bottom sill up a little bit. That is a treated 2x6 on top of a treated 6x6, and probably heaved up just a little bit, made a little tight in the bottom of the doors. We'll figure it out. Let's get loaded up. buddy. Okay, now maybe you can see it. Right in the middle of the screen, there's a little cabin up on the hill. That's our destination. And we're gonna get there through the fields with this little beast. Got this last year. It's just a 400. Kinda wish I had a little bit bigger one, more horsepower, but I think this will do just fine. It is a 4-wheel drive, but I do not have chains for the back. I was gonna pick some up yesterday, but they were like $360 and I'm pretty cheap, so I didn't want to do that. Well, hey, let's go for a ride. Are you warm enough? Okay, let's do this. Well, would you look at that? You can see it from here, but I can't get there. No, snow is just a little bit too deep. I'm over the axles on this rig, and it's not going anywhere farther up the hill. So there you have it. Time to get some exercise. Got a yard at about 150 yards up the hill. But hey, on a good note, the fog is lifting. The view is fantastic. It's not too cold. Life is good on the moose. And we're walking. Just like that, it's gone. Oh, goodness. Oh, the snow is at the breakthrough stage where it gives you just a little bit of hope when you first step down thinking, hey, I can walk right on top of this. And then you sink down to China. All right, maybe not China, just, oh, I don't know. Down to the ground, we'll say. Okay, up the hill. There it is. It's getting closer. Oh, if I haven't mentioned it yet, thanks for watching Life on the Moose. I really appreciate it. There it is. If it sounds like I'm out of shape, it's because I am. And also because
We're at about 3,200 feet in elevation, which isn't that far. But when you live at about 100 feet in elevation, yeah, I'm not quite used to it. Give me a day or two. Hey, walking on top of snow. Whoa! Just as soon as I said it. Ah, we're here. We are here. This is what we call the ridge cabin. Let's get to work.
Everything is still in place, and I left it. It's a little bit warmer in here because of the little bit of solar heat this morning shining in the windows. There's the view. I got these big, almost 7-foot windows, repurposed. Took these out of the house that I live in the coast. Put new windows in there, reuse these. They lost their seal, the little space between the panes of glass. When you lose a seal, that argon or whatever gas that is they put in there escapes, lets in air and moisture. And if you're on the coast, it sweats, it gets wet. Eventually it will be cloudy and foggy and you can't even see through them. But over on this side of the mountains, it's dry. These things probably will be fine for a long time. Okay, so there you go. Just a simple cabin. These are all windows that are repurposed, but they're like new. The door I sprang for. I did pay big bucks for the door, and that's about it. Lumber, most of the lumber that you see here, I did buy. The big headers right there, I got an online auction. Didn't spend a whole lot of money on these. You see the glue laminated beams there. They work fantastic for what I have to do. Overbuilt the top with 2x10s, but that's okay. I typically do. If I have a choice between overbuilding and I don't know if it's going to survive the snowstorm, I'd rather overbuild and then not worry if it's going to survive a snowstorm. I am going to do some simple wiring. Maybe put the battery pack or whatever the case may be for future solar down there. Just run a few outlets back over there, maybe over here. Like I said, just for a light bulb or two, maybe a lamp, plug in your computer, plug in your phone, all that luxury stuff. Okay, let's get to work. How about before we get to work, I show you a little bit about the outside. Well, look at that fancy lap siding. Fancy. Look at this. I want to tell you about this stuff. Right there. Lap siding, 8 inches. That was not born as lap siding. This is a repurposed piece of wood. I got all those lengths are about over 5 feet. I got each board for $1, actually less than $1. Those were originally an 8x8 beam, if you will, that these builders of a tunnel needed there to be a beveled edge on them. So they beveled the edges. These are all the scraps. These are all the scraps. Got it from a mill down at the port of Seattle, and they are Doug fir. That's what I'm using for my siding. These have been stained. Before I put them up, I stained all the sides and edges. And pretty inexpensive, but looks fantastic. Looks fantastic. At least I think so. Okay. I did use some wood from the property. You can see with the cool wormholes. That came from the property. Decided to put a row of steel down below for a couple of reasons. One, if there's ever snow backed up, packed up to it, it's steel. That isn't going to hurt anything. And the other reason is fire. Yep, we do get fires around here, wildfires. So yeah, you can see I still have work to do. Still have siding to put on. I have most of the caulking done of what I did so far, but I need to stain my trim. Right now it's kind of an orange yellow look. I guess it's not too bad. Oh, these beams underneath that are holding the whole thing up, also from the property. Now those were standing dead because they burned. And you might have been wondering on the way up here, why are all these dead trees like that hanging around? Well, we did have a fire go through here, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. And yeah, it took out about 50 mature pine trees, which sucked. They are growing naturally and growing again. So a few years, we'll have a lot more trees. So that's the cabin. I decided to take the steel just for effect, run it all the way up on this side. I think it looks pretty cool. But yeah, I still have to do the lap siding up on top there. So there you have it. And what I did, instead of put posts in the ground, I put sonotubes in the ground, brackets in the tubes, and wood on the brackets. That way there is no earth to wood contact. Hopefully this thing lasts a long time.
Well, that's a wrap for now. Make sure you check out our next video as we continue working on the ranch. You can watch me struggle to get materials up the hill in a very unique fashion so we can install solar wiring in the off-grid ridge cabin. If you like this video, please like it below and subscribe for more great content each week. Until next time, this is Life on the Moose.